gonna eat some super, super fresh food that came right out of your gardens. So all the hard work that you guys did to grow all these awesome vegetables were brought to me yesterday afternoon. That means they haven't even been out of the ground 24 hours. And you know what that means? Nutrient to plate. It means that you're gonna receive so many more nutrients from this food because it's fresh and it's just been harvested. So I didn't know what I was getting. So Stephen brought me this like mystery basket of different things. I don't know if you guys ever walk into the refrigerator and you open up the refrigerator, you don't know what you want to eat, but you just kind of like have to make something with what's in the refrigerator. Do you guys ever do that?
Yes.
Cool. Guess what that's called? Cooking. Okay? That is called cooking. And a person who's a good cook is somebody who can either go out into the garden or open up the refrigerator and they can make something delicious and wonderful and nutritious from just what they have. So I didn't have very much stuff in my house yesterday. I had a couple, I had 2 boxes of whole wheat pasta, okay? I buy whole wheat pasta, it's very inexpensive, high fiber, high nutrients. So I boiled my pasta in a little bit of salted water. Do you guys ever put salt in your water when you boil your pasta? Okay. Okay, so like a healthy pinch of salt goes into the water. You wait for that water to come up to a boil, right? And then you put in your pasta and then you put your timer, you put your timer on for about 8 to 10 minutes. Have you ever heard the term al dente? Yeah, what does al dente mean? Hard to the tooth. So, and it's an Italian word that the Italians use to describe the proper cooking, like the level of cooking for pasta. So you don't want to overcook your pasta. You don't want to make it super, super soft, and you don't want it to be hard and chewy. You want it to be where when your mouth hits the pasta, it's got a little texture, right, on the pasta. And so that's the proper cooking technique. Then you drain your pasta off into a strainer, and then you run a little bit of cold water over that. And then you shake the pasta, and you do that to get the starch off of the pasta. And then I immediately put something like an olive oil on top of the pasta so that it coats the pasta. So what I did is I got one big zucchini that was like this big. I chopped up the zucchini. I sauteed it in a pan with just a little bit of olive oil and salt and a little bit of oregano from my garden, because guess what? Gardokia made a really nice garden at my house. So I get to take all the things on a daily basis from my garden, and I get to use them in my house, and I get to use them at my restaurant. So it's like super cool. So I actually went out, got some oregano, and I sauteed that zucchini just until I could see that it was, getting a little nice and browned. And then I let that cool down. And then I had 2 or 3 green bell peppers. And I chopped up the bell peppers, and I did the exact same thing with the bell peppers. And then I cooled those down. And then I had this beautiful thing called Swiss chard. Have you guys seen the Swiss chard in your garden? It's like a rainbow. It has all these different colors. And guess what? Not only do you use the big leaf, but you also use the stem. And sometimes if you grow this at home, or maybe the next time you come back to school, you can chop the stem off and you can use it for like a dip. So if you guys like different dips, you can use that just like you would, carrots or celery. So what we did with the Swiss chard stems is we chopped them up super, super fine. They almost look like celery. And we added that into the pasta. And then I also had some cucumber. I had one big cucumber. And so we chopped up the cucumber, but I didn't put it on top of the pasta. I left it apart because all the other ingredients were warm, but the cucumber was cold, right? So I waited until I got here to chop up the tomatoes. And you know why I did that? Because tomatoes have a they start producing a lot of water. So when you cut a tomato and then you apply a little bit of salt, what happens is the tomatoes start to give off a ton of liquid, okay? And so I didn't want extra liquid in my salad. If that's something that you want, then you can do that. But I like to cut my tomatoes at the very, very end. And I'm gonna put my glove on here. All right, and then what I'm gonna do here, I have a pink salt. Okay, this salt is different than your white salt. Isn't it pretty? Doesn't everybody like pink salt? So this pink salt is actually it has a higher mineral content. It's called pink Himalayan salt. It's what we use at the restaurant. And so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of this salt on here, okay, onto the tomatoes. And this is gonna be the last thing that I add to my dish here. And then I also have a little bit of freshly squeezed lemon juice, okay? And I'm gonna put a little bit of lemon juice on here because everything that has salt, lemon juice, and olive oil, guess what? Tastes really good. You can make anything taste really good with just those 3 simple ingredients. Do you all think that, does everybody here think that they have those 3 things in their house? Salt, olive oil, lemon juice, okay? We can call that a holy trinity. And anything coming out of the garden this summer is gonna taste good with all of those components. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil on here, like this, okay? And then the very last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop that, and now you have a delicious, nutritious salad with everything from the garden. And I combine things that need to be cooked as well as things that are raw into this salad. And I'm going to, and I don't know when they want me to pass this salad around. Do we have any ideas of when we want the girls to eat the salad?
We can help you pass it out.
Okay, all right, we'll do that maybe in just a minute. So I have another question for you guys. Has anybody here ever heard the word UNESCO? You have? Okay, very good. So does everybody see my chef coat here? And you see this little, it's like, it looks like a Roman ruin. So San Antonio is part of a network of cities all over the world that are under this umbrella called the Creative Cities Network. And this is something that you guys should really study and think about because UNESCO is an amazing non-governmental organization that works not only to protect really amazing things like our San Antonio missions, which PS are also their World Heritage. It's a different arm of UNESCO, but I work with a lot of other chefs in the city to help promote health and wellness as well as sustainability through food and culture. So gastronomy is a fancy word for food and culture, okay? So when you think about the foods that you eat in your house, maybe those are different than the foods that you eat in your house, and maybe they're different than the foods that I eat in my house. So our culture, it impacts and plays a big role in the types of foods that we eat. Did you have a question, sweetie?
So, I was wondering how far the stove and why is that stove?
Really good question. Really good question. Have you guys studied synonyms?
Yeah,
What's a synonym? Very good. So I was looking for a synonym for culinary medicine. So I wanted to create a name for my company that communicated farm to table, and it also communicated culinary medicine. And ultimately, I was looking for a synonym for culinary medicine so I could have it written and it could imply farm to table, it could imply food as medicine without ever having to say a lot of words. So that's why farm table is spelled PHARM. Very good question. Yeah, like pharmacy. So everything that we do is good for the body. And it's not only, our mission is actually not only to heal the body with food, but it's also to heal the planet with the way that we cook and the way we think about food. So at the restaurant, we actually, not only do we cook things with all sorts of fresh vegetables and spices that are really good for the body, but we also think about our carbon footprint, and that makes a big impact on where we buy, where we buy our produce, where we buy our meats. We try to buy from local growers as much as possible, because that implies a lot of things. It implies that we have a reduced carbon footprint. We've had to use fewer fossil fuels to get our food to the restaurant. We're able to recycle and repurpose crates. So a lot of times when you buy from big companies, they come, and they dump all your stuff and it's all in cardboard boxes. Well, guess what? Those cardboard boxes have to get broken down. They have to get recycled. When somebody brings you produce or meats in a crate, you're able to wash the crate and give it back to them. And you're able to reutilize it. So we call that full circle. We also work with a group that you might know called Compost Queens. And they actually, we were the first commercial restaurant to start composting with them back in 2016 or 15, I don't remember. But we've been able to divert more than 44 tons of waste from the landfill. That's a lot. Yeah. Called anaerobic. We do something called anaerobic, which means without oxygen composting. So every time we cook, every time we clear a table and we scrape food out, all of it gets to go back into the earth. And guess what? Then we buy the compost and then we put it on our garden, and it's full circle. So that's one of the ways that we give back to our community, and that we know that we're being good stewards. Because does everybody here recycle? Yeah. Okay. That's the present, and that's the future. We all have to be very cognizant of what we're using and how we're recycling and how we're each doing our own part to be good stewards, right? We can't leave that on somebody else. It's a responsibility that we have to take. So getting back to UNESCO, we have this really cool responsibility now, because now we're part of this big network with all these cities around the world to use food and culture as a driver for sustainable economic development. So every single day when I cook and I do everything that I just told you about, the composting, trying to find local vendors, trying to cook things that are in season, trying to maximize the nutrients, I'm furthering the goals of the UNESCO network. And so there's 17 sustainability development goals, and I bet you one of you is going to study the environment in this room. Maybe somebody here is going to study health and wellness. You're going to go to the health industry, or maybe or maybe some of you are going to do something else that's related to sustainability and health and wellness. But we have so many ways that we can give back to our community. I know I saw somebody from the food bank here just a minute ago. There we go. So the food bank is working on these things on a daily basis, and we are so lucky to have them in our community. And organizations like Ardopia are helping educate you guys, because guess what? The key is education. We cannot change the world, and we can't, change the way people eat and think about food unless you guys hold the torch. Okay? It's up to every single one of you girls to take all this amazing information that's being given to you, and for you guys to be the new crop of people, the global citizens that are going to help make our world a better place. So let's give it up for these girls. Now, before I start passing out some of this food, do you guys have any questions for me? And it can be about anything that I just talked about, or it could be about any random cooking question that you've ever had in your entire life. I even bake. Yes. I do. Can I tell you that my son, I'm gonna cry, he graduates from high school today. Oh. I've been crying all week. I have no idea what's going on, but when you guys have children, if you have children, you're gonna see that when they graduate from either 8th grade or high school, you start crying. Hold on. Yes, ma'am. From high school? Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful to hear. I'm so excited for your sister. Hopefully you can follow in her footsteps. That's amazing. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So, first,
Oh, great. Good question. What inspired me to be a chef and what steps did I have to take to become a chef? Well, so what inspired me to become a culinary professional was I wanted to combine my love of culture and anthropology with my love of food and ingredients. So I've always been kind of a nerd when it comes to ingredients. I've always been super interested in how things grow in the ground, where they come from, where they're native to, where they're, where they originated, the cultures and the people who originally, cooked with these foods. All of those things to me tell a story. So I love to learn stories. I love to tell stories. And I ended up going to cooking school. No lie, after I went to law school, okay, my mom and dad were not very happy because I ended up going to college. I ended up studying English and Spanish literature as well as anthropology. And then I left and then I started a master's in anthropology, which I stopped, and then I went to study law school. So I went through law school and then I decided I didn't want to be an attorney, and I decided I wanted to cook. And so it was a lot of years of cooking in kitchens as well as going to culinary school. And I've been doing this now for about 25 years. They were mad, but you know what? I never knew that I was going to be my own business owner. And guess what has helped me out, being a lone female business owner with no partners, managing, 30 people with a restaurant that now does, over $1.5 million in revenue. Guess what? Guess what I have to do? I have to read contracts. I have to negotiate. I have to know the law. I have to know labor law. I have to know everything. So guess what? That law degree, I use it every day. So even though I'm not a practicing attorney, it helps me out because does anybody here want to have their own business and be their own boss? Okay, well, a law degree helps you out if you're going to do that because it gives you the tools that you need to be able to advocate for yourself. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. We start passing now.
Yes, you can. Actually, let's do one thing. I just want to drop this on each one, and then we have the awesome. Yes.
I think I just need a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Oh, really? To the CIA or the Cordon Bleu? The CIA? Okay, great. Yeah, I was a chef instructor there for 6 years. I was a teacher there. Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, yeah. So when you have something that you're super passionate about and that you're super interested in, guess what happens? You become successful learning about that particular subject because it's something that truly interests you. So that's another big piece of advice that I have for all you ladies. Find what you're passionate about, and then you'll have fun actually pursuing that particular career. Hold on a second. Yes, ma'am.
Not only to tell what other people do, but about everything. It's just so fun.
So you know what I hope for the future? I hope that there are more organizations that women can be a part of. There already are quite a few organizations that support women business owners, but I think it's really important that women support women in the business world, okay? It's really important because we are oftentimes juggling also being mothers as well as business owners. And I think it's really important that we form a sisterhood and that we support one another. Hold on one second, sweetie. Did somebody else have a question here that I didn't get to answer? No? Okay, yes, ma'am. Wow, okay. Now, so remember, everything that's in this pasta salad, guys, we've got a little bit of whole wheat pasta, high in fiber, high in nutrients. Then we have all of the ingredients from the garden that were either, raw and seasoned with a little bit of olive oil, lemon juice, and salt. And then we just put the tomatoes on top. So let's give it up again for your school and Gardovia for making this a part of your curriculum. This is one of the things with you into your adult life is knowing how to eat well, as well as understanding what fresh food is. Awesome. Everybody give a good round of applause for Chef Johnson. That was an amazing presentation. So inspiring. Thank you so much. That looks delicious. Can't wait to eat it. And I know our fourth graders have lunch right after this. They may have had a nice little appetizer here. We are actually going to have Michelle Duenas come up and talk to us. She works for the San Antonio Food Bank and is also one of our awesome board of directors. So without further ado. Yeah.
Hello, beautiful ladies. How are y'all doing today? Okay, I know everybody's got their mouth full, so I just wanted to start by letting you know 3 things. And I want y'all to repeat this every day in the morning, before you wake up, before you go to school. I want you to know 3 things. One is, I am amazing. Each and every single one of you are amazing. So repeat after me. I am amazing. Yes, all of you are. I am brilliant. Yes, and last one, because I know we're repeating here, I am a leader. You are a leader. So like we were mentioning, I work at the San Antonio Food Bank, and a lot of what y'all are doing here at YWLA Primary is what we need our future leaders to do. Y'all are currently doing a lot of communication, collaboration, critical thinking, problem-solving skills. And in addition to that, as one of our presenters said earlier, y'all are farmers. Y'all are out there, y'all are growing your own crops, y'all are learning how to harvest your own crops, and you're learning everything about the microorganisms, the world that lives within our soil, all the way to the composting, so that all of that food doesn't go to the landfill and create those gases that are not helping our environment. So you are who we are counting on in the future. You have brilliant minds, and these minds we need your imagination, and we need it to help solve problems and to help make our world that much better. We always want to be thinking 7 generations ahead. That sounds like a long time forward, but the truth is, we always need to be thinking, what are the things that we are doing today? How is it going to affect people 7 generations ahead of us? And it's your brilliant minds that are going to help us with that. So I'm going to close because I know that you'll have to go to lunch in just a bit. This is a great appetizer. I hope you enjoy it because you're eating healthy superfood and at the same time enjoying it. So before we leave, just thank you all to the presenters and Principal Elwood. And let's repeat it one more time, ladies. Every morning, I am amazing. I am brilliant. And I am a leader. Love you all so much. Thank you for being our future leaders, and keep up the hard work. Y'all are wonderful.
So, thank you guys so much for visiting our campus. You are more than welcome to come whenever you want. We have so much going on here. But at this time, girls, I'm going to ask you to very quickly on your seat. And I'm going to ask everybody to come up to the front and join us on stage. And we're just going to take a quick group photo. And we're going to try to do this really fast. Not running.